What's going on, everybody? My name is Jon Stamper, and I am excited to relaunch a podcast that I started probably back in 2017 called The Digital Trade Show. The whole idea of the Digital Trade Show was this future vision that as the digital landscape was becoming more popular for companies to get their word out and advertise about their products and services, that there was going to be a need for people to be speaking about what they do in the digital space. And the whole idea, as many of you know, is we always in the past learned about products and services, depending on what industry you were in, at a trade show. Like I've been in dentistry for 20 years. And when I first started, I would go to trade shows, and that's how a lot of the dentists and their teams would learn about the newer technologies. And that still exists. But when I think about this future world that we're in, I think about people really valuing their time and not always having the opportunity to go to the trade show floor in person. Why not leverage this digital space in an effort to learn about these exciting products and services and technology? So to kick this off, I have with me today William Schimensky, who is the founder of Wolfpack CEO, and he's created a lot of tools, which we're going to get into today. But I'm also very excited to share with you all. I'm just going to put this out there. William and I have decided to partner together for a lot of different reasons in regards to how I'm helping companies and also what he's done in creating this engine to really get the word out about what you are offering with your products and services. But I thought it would be a great way to kick off the Digital Trade Show because we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing. And I'm really excited as we move forward with this podcast to highlight companies out there that are putting together innovative solutions. And I'm going to be walking them through the scenario as if I am at the trade show. I want to learn about their company, asking them questions about it, all in an effort for you, the viewer, to be able to learn about these great companies as well. So, William, it is great to have you. How you doing?
I'm well. I'm super excited to be on this re-inaugural show of the digital showcase with you, and I'm excited and I'm honored to be here with you.
All right. So I thought we would kick this off by having you share a little bit about you, your story, the whole idea of Wolfpack CEO. And then, of course, we're going to get into the work that you're doing. As I shared with everybody, I was so excited about what you were doing, what you put together. It was kind of like the final piece of a lot of the work that I'm doing to help companies. But let's go ahead and start with what you've built. And I think more importantly, why you did it.
Yeah, I started in marketing and social media when people were still debating if Facebook was going to be important or not. If social media was just a fad, and as we all know, it wasn't a fad. It's really taken a major part of businesses and how they conduct business. And in that time, what I understood or what I learned was the need to automate, the need to use technology to have more impactful results. And that's always been our edge when in our agency was being at the forefront of the technology, understanding how to use that technology, leveraging that technology to provide more impactful results. And in that journey, about, I want to say 9 years ago, we started looking at machine learning and AI, and we had partnered with a company in Israel and a company in Mexico, and we implemented years ago machine learning and AI into our ads and client engagement. And since then, over the last couple of years, with the technology just taking a huge leap into artificial intelligence, we've been able to leverage that and create these ecosystems that are vertical specific that help agencies and businesses create impactful results. And I keep saying impactful because we have a lot of tools that we use and that we've been able to put together to generate the results, but tools will change. So what we focus on is ensuring that whatever ecosystem we create with Wolfbot, that it is an ecosystem that is flexible to change with the technology and continues to generate consistent results.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Just the whole idea of how the tools change. I go through this emotional wave every once in a while of being really excited about the opportunity for companies to be able to build their brand awareness and generate leads and really build a digital footprint that's strong where, their potential customers can find them. I get frustrated at the same time, William, because I see that there are all these tools out there. And although I get excited about the tools and I love this, where we're going with this, I get frustrated because I think to myself, like, if I'm a business and I look at these tools and I feel like just one or two or several of those tools can help me overall build a strategy, and then they start to use them and it can be a bit frustrating, right? Because then they maybe don't get the results that they wanted. Maybe they do it for a month or so and then they stop because it's difficult. And so I love how you've talked about building this ecosystem, because when it's all said and done, the tools are going to change. What's most important is that a business has an organization that knows how to put in the right tools at the right time in order for them to get the results. And so, speaking of results, I'd love to have you talk about that, because you and I have had these conversations many times of like, I need someone to manage my social media, or I want to make sure that we're getting the word out there. And as you have said to me so many times, it's not really about managing the social media. When somebody says they want help with their social media, what they really want is results. And so talk to me about how that drives you on a daily basis and your company to build these ecosystems for these businesses.
Yeah, just experience over a couple decades of working with all kinds of clients, healthcare and otherwise. And me, much like other agencies, when we start offering SEO and social and all these products. And individually, these are great services and needed. But what I realized very early on, you can't depend on one of those things to drive business. The reality is you need all of these things to drive business. So the first thing was ensuring that clients that came to me understood, guys, we have to change the mindset of, you're not coming to me for social media, you're not coming to me for SEO, you're not coming to me for pay-per-click. You're coming to me for a result, and the result for you may be an appointment on your calendar, a quality appointment on your calendar, or a qualified lead, or a sale. So let's talk about the result, because I need all of those tools. I need all of those channels to create the result. And so once I made that determination and how I provide service, that it has to be based on the result. As a matter of fact, one of our mottos is, it's not about feelings, it's about data. And so we have to understand that we're looking for these results, and we've been able to create something that drives those results. And the reality is that the tools are going to change from one day to the next. As a small business owner or business owner, how much time are you truly going to invest into what tool works, or what this, and how does it connect to that, and does it integrate here, and how does it all communicate with one another? How does the SEO work with the social media? How does the social media affect the PPC? How does the PPC affect the... There's so many variables, and so many folks get hung up on the tools and the features, and it freezes them. It freezes them. They got excited over a video that they saw, that this new tool can make you coffee in bed while it reads all these things, and you get excited and you go spend money, and now you got to set it up. Okay, now I got to set it up, but you didn't think of how that tool fits into the entire customer journey or the patient journey. How does that tool fit into the strategy? And that's where the frustration comes in, because they were sold on a hype video. They were sold on a good salesperson that says, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Just turn it on and you're going to see millions of... And then reality sets in. The setup was difficult. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't even know what message I was supposed to put out with the tool. So that's the big thing. That's where you and I started working, and we worked on a number of accounts, not even like we came into the accounts together. You were doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. And it just so happened that both of our things coming together, we saw explosive results. And it just proved my hypotheses that you got to have a great engine, and that engine can change, but you got to have great fuel as well, and a strategy that you understand that you need all of it to create a result. And so that's how we ended up here in working together and generating results and focused on that.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest challenges that I had, it's no secret, I have been super, focused on helping companies get their word out and creating content and all of that, or what have you. And this goes back to 2019 in the dentistry space when I was going around to trade shows and live streaming on social media, what have you. And then from that, like, we'd create all this content. And there was even a time when I'd go to an event, and in that 3-day period, we would create like a video for each day. We'd have all the videos of all the interviews. And of course, at that moment, everybody was excited, right? What I discovered is that all those videos would then, sit in a folder, and those companies wouldn't necessarily, utilize them as often as they could, figure out a way to be able to utilize them. And then what would start to happen is that their excitement for that video content would start to wane. And then the things that I was excited about, or the service or the solutions that I was providing, it's like, well, this is great video content, John, but you know what? We don't know how to use it. We don't know where to put it. And most importantly, rightfully so, whether it be from the leadership or marketing or what have you, which is, what's the ROI on this content, John? This is great. Like, we paid you to do this video content, but if we don't get results, in other words, if we don't find out a way to be able to generate leads for our business, then we're just going to go back to the traditional methods of marketing that we're comfortable with, that we know worked, and that's what we're going to stick to. And so now we all live in this world where I think hopefully people are recognizing that you do need to have all of it, but without the engine, and this is certainly what I realized and why I was so excited for us to work together, the video content and the things that you put out there, it's really only half of the battle. And I think that was the message I know that you and I wanted to get across today, is that as you're looking to strengthen and build your digital footprint, you have to think about all these things, because like you said, if anything, social media, what it is in a lot of ways, Williams, as you know, it's entertaining. And so the entertainment in a lot of ways can lure you in. It can kind of keep you going. That's kind of the point, right? The whole goal of it is to make sure that people stay on the platforms, which if you utilize it in a good way for your business, that's smart. If you get lured into the entertainment piece and then that's what, you create content around and you forget to build the strategy around it, then you wake up 2 or 3 months later and then you might not have any results with what you're trying to accomplish. So I know the engine piece is a big piece of that. I want to talk about actually something in dentistry around that, but I also wanted to ask you a little bit more about the AI piece and have everybody share, how the AI is making that automation, which is something that really drives you. How is that going to make this process easier?
Yeah, you actually touched on a few good points. First of all, talking about the ROI, in my experience and working with other agencies and whatnot, they can't tell you what that spend generated. Most can't tell you where that sale, where that lead came from. And really understanding the lead journey, where it started on Facebook and then they went to your website and then they opted in and then there was a meeting. And so working together, as you know, we worked on a few clients, and that was the very first thing that this system does. It's tracking every click, every impression, every comment, every email open, how long it takes them to open. It's analyzing the subject lines. It's analyzing the text messages. It's analyzing the social media messages and the engagement. So it's taking all of that and crunching the data, and it helps us optimize every channel from social to SEO to email to text to telephone. So the AI is part of that journey where it's crunching the data and even down to our graphics. We have it where it analyzes our designs, and based on the engagement or view rates and how long, it's crunching numbers for us, advising us what type of content we should be putting out, what format, right? You should be putting out some video, you should be putting out this. And it just gives you all of this wealth of data based on the interaction. So that helps us, at least the customer and business, create or provide better results, because we are dealing with actual data. In terms of how it helps, AI can be really scary. I can only think of, I think the movie Terminator, for those of you that remember that was training. That was really, I think, a training for us for what we're about to go into, because AI is really that smart. So what we're using the AI for is to make it super simple for the practice, for the business. Let the AI do the heavy lifting. Things like when we run ads, the AI analyzes the ads and creates hundreds of variations of our ads and optimizes based on engagement, click through conversions. If a human was going to do that, there's no possible way we could optimize that quickly. So now you have businesses that, instead of just spending money on ads, you can spend money on ads and get much better results, lower customer acquisition. Let's talk about the customer experience, just the patient experience. We have AI that, after a visit, not only will text you and email you a review request to see how your visit went, but it'll call you, natural language voice. Hey, John, I'm calling from Dr. So-and-so's office. Do you have a couple of minutes? Great. Love to know how your visit went. And it'll have a conversation, collect that data, and even say, hey, it looks like you had a great experience. Can I text you a review link? So these are the type of use cases that we are able to implement for that business to make those tasks, the things that we have to do. You got to collect reviews. It's the most important thing for a local business. Google My Business, those reviews. So let's put it on automated. Let's make it automated. And not only that, it can segment. If they're not happy, we can get in front of them and say, hey, could we set up an appointment? And the AI can do that. If we're talking about lead generation, our AI can make 10,000 calls every 30 minutes and have full length, natural conversation that understands sentiment and context. How would that help a B2B business? How would that help any business if you had this 24 hours, 7-day-a-week team member that knew everything about your business, competitors, about the vertical, compliance, HIPAA, knew everything, was always in a great mood, knew how to sell, how to be empathetic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Would that help a business and make it easier for them, or maybe save money? Right? So this is how our technologies and AIs, and those are just a couple of examples, how it can make it easier to generate more new patients, new clients, better experience, more reviews, and ultimately all of that results into higher revenues.
All right. So for everybody out there watching and hearing you talk a little bit about AI, and you started this by saying like it's scary and all that or what have you, and you've heard it probably 10 times more than I do, because you have these conversations with customers on a daily basis, because it's the world that you lived in and have lived in for a while. Is that from my side of the table, somebody that values the interviewing people and having a conversation and creating authentic content. My concern with AI in this new world, and I'm going to come back around to this to show people that it really how it's going to value you, is that if everybody uses the same tools, then we're going to start to kind of feel a little bit like Where's Waldo, right? Where it's going to be like everybody's message is going to be the same. So this is where this hybrid approach comes in. And this is where, like you talked about, William, like you can't necessarily always rely on the tools. It's an element of kind of like changing things out from here and there, but also training them to know and understand you as a business, the people that are part of your business. And this is an analogy I want to get your thoughts on, right? I think about when email marketing exploded, right? And I think about we were at a point where all of a sudden companies were leveraging email marketing. And it started, as you know, like you would go to a website, you would learn about them, you knew about their brand, and you would purchase something or what have you. They would ask you for your email. And then after you felt comfortable with that company, you purchased something, then you'd give your email and then they would start sending you things. And then from that point forward, like it didn't necessarily matter if you had an authentic connection with that business. You were fine getting that email from that company, in a very passive way. It didn't need to be emotional. It was more of an update, right? You were utilizing at that time the efficiency of how email marketing was done in an effort to get promotions from the businesses that you like or what have you. I wanted to get your thoughts. I kind of feel like this is how, in a lot of regards, AI is going to be used, like you talked about, because if you are a business and you are not continuously connecting with your audience in this digital space, you are going to fall behind. You just are, because it's very noisy. There are people that are doing it. There are people that are doing it the right way. And I feel like, William, the AI and the efficiencies of a lot of this and being able to tap into the database and what, the feedback and the comments and all of that is telling the AI, that's what's going to help these businesses move forward and make sure that they're consistently staying in front of their potential customers or their current customers. So am I on the right page when I say that, as far as like how to, take the concern of AI and really leverage it for this way to duplicate things on a weekly basis? Does that make sense?
100%. And you've touched on the three reasons why they need what you do and they need what we do. First thing is that a client that comes to us needs to be on the same page. They want a result, and we're going to bring that result, and we're going to navigate that landscape, right? We're the ones having these conversations at all hours of the night. I'm up at all hours talking to developers and AI developers and all that. And what I find a lot of clients want, they want an education, which is cool, but we're here to deliver the result. So starting with that, understanding that you're here to get a result. Then if you're coming to the specialist, you got to let the specialist do what they do, right? That's why you come to a Jon, because the reality is, even me, if I was going to do this, I wouldn't know how to put it out there. How am I going to say this? What's the right terminology? What are people searching for? Your audience. So you got to have that human element no matter what. How does AI work into this? Listen, AI, there's a false sense of security happening right now with AI. There's folks out there, because there's so many tools and they're all making you believe you can do it too. You can write your own content and you can create your own images and you can create. Nothing's going to change from now to before, other than people are just putting out more bad content. Mm-hmm. If you don't know how to position a message, if you don't know how to prompt it to position the message, if you don't know how that message leads into the next message, that leads into the social post, that leads into the PP, if you don't know how to do that, you're going to have a tough time. You're not going to get the results, and you're being led into this false sense of security. So the idea that AI is going to take over, no, it's the human that knows how to use AI that's going to take over, and you just got to hire that human that knows how to do that. So that's one thing. The second thing is the authenticity is actually so important. See, here's what happens with a lot of small businesses. They start and it's just me and my wife. It's me and Jon. We're starting a business and we're bootstrapped. It's just you and I. And yeah, you and I are going to send every single email. We're going to take our time and write that like it's the $1 million deal, whatever it is. We're going to take it and we're going to answer back immediately as soon as we get that email. And of course, we're going to follow up to every phone call. And of course, we're going to follow up to every text message in the beginning. But let's think about reality. Reality is that there's no possible way that you can scale and compete if you're not using technology to amplify your message. So what AI does, we use some of the most sophisticated tools in the industry. We have tools that as you're creating content, it's monitoring your content for a number of things. It'll say, hey, wait a minute. No, Jon doesn't say that word like that. No. That's against the branding guidelines of that business. So we're using the AI to train it on the brand, train it on the customers, train it on everything, including your voice. how you write, how you sound. And now we're using the technology to be able to sound like you millions of times per day, where you could never do that on your own. So we can't replace you, Jon. There's only one Jon. What we're trying to do is get as close as possible to sound like you, to write like you, where you can drive the system and let it know, hey, when this happens, you can go ahead and communicate on my behalf because you sound like me. That's exactly how we position it. That's exactly how we say that word and how we refer to things. So again, it's using the AI to bring out the best of your brand and service, to amplify it, to get in front of people, to personalize the message. Everybody does these drip campaigns. You know them, Jon, right? Okay, when somebody fills out my contact form, I want them to get an immediate email. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Bye, bye, bye. Then they get email number 2 on the second day. Hi, remember me? Bye, bye, bye. Email number 3. Bye, bye, bye. Right? You get the purpose. It's a very impersonal, as you mentioned, email communication. Can I tell you that email is our number one generator of revenue? Why? Because we use AI. See, the AI understands what the goal is from that email. As I'm writing it and send it out, it's analyzing the email, analyzing the behavior. And when that person responds, the AI creates a response based on all the data it learned, based on the interaction from every channel, and it creates a hyper personalized response like, hey, Jon, how did your first podcast go? Because it learned that you just had a podcast. So the next communication is going to be that personalized. I would venture to say that these AI systems will personalize your content better than you would.
So with that note, here's what we're going to do, everybody. I just got this idea as hearing you say that, William, is that as we wrap this first episode, I think I would like to have part 2 of this. And if possible, I think what would be really cool would be to take what we discussed and have you put it into the AI engine and a lot of the tools that you use. And we come back for part 2 of this. I've got more things I want to discuss, and this is so super exciting, and things I know that we're going to do together. But if you're good with that, I think that would be cool, because I think what you just shared, in my opinion, hopefully that gives everybody, confidence in this new AI world, that utilizing this technology in a positive way to help you scale and grow, and know that you can still personalize things, right? What it's helping you do is reach more people. And who does not want to do that? And yes, there is a way to reach more people and have it be personal. And a lot of that, William, I feel like still starts in the beginning though, right? Like, I think that's why I'm so passionate now about working with organizations to craft their strategy so that they know going into it, like what the game plan is and so on and so forth, before they just jump in and utilize a lot of these things. Because I think if you take a little bit of time on the front end to understand the tools, understand your message, it's going to make these models that much better as time goes on. And then it's almost like they self-iterate themselves as they get feedback from, the responses, and as you send things out, and then that just helps you become that much more valuable the next time you do it. So are you good if we do that and we carry this on to part 2 and we use some of the content we shared today and put them in some of those tools?
Yeah, 100%. And before we wrap that up, you just mentioned something that's so important for an organization. The time to implement it is at the beginning, because the tool, you're going to customize it to do what you want it to do. And that's really important. Getting with somebody like you that understands how to put the strategy together and getting the tool to customize that journey exactly the way you envisioned it, that's the time to do it.
Completely. Well, William, thanks so much. I mean, I have loved going along this journey with you and learning so much. It's been very exciting. And quite honestly, for someone who loves video and loves, companies crafting that strategy and that video means nothing without the engine. And that's what you've built, and that's what you're continuing to do. So I'm excited to be in this partnership together with you, and for episode 2, where we can actually demonstrate to some people the tools you're using and all of that. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, everybody, we're going to relaunch the Digital Trade Show. So if you're watching this, you love what you're hearing, I'd love to have you subscribe on all the different podcast channels, as well as YouTube and all the social channels. We'll can keep this podcast going. And then, of course, any information that you want to learn about William and Wolfpack CEO and Wolfbot AI, we'll have all of those links in the show notes. And I have a feeling that William will know exactly what to do in an effort to be able to make sure that a lot of people hear this podcast, which is super cool, right?
Absolutely. You're going to see it firsthand. You're going to get a taste of it when you start engaging with Jon's content.
Awesome. Well, William, thanks so much. And we'll see you for episode 2.
Thank you.